My legs gave out, and I fell heavily against a cold hallway wall, sliding down until my knees hit the floor. The world around me spun in a pair of flashlights, running feet and the terrifying non-stop screech of the heart monitor. I buried my face in my blood-stained hands, squeezing my eyes shut, but all I could see was Jimmy's falling against the jack of over and over again. Please, I whispered into my palms. I was breaking completely as tears finally slipped over. Take me instead, smash my empire to the ground, kill me. Do whatever you want, just let my family live. Don't punish them for my sins. Inside the room, the chaos grew louder. Charge on 100 clipped. Dr. Hans was moved, followed by the dull, heavy thud of the medical equipments. Again, increased the dosage of the emergency meds. Come on, Jimmy, we have to fight for it. Every second felt like an eternity, slicing through my skin. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, trapped in a living nightmare right outside the door. After what felt like hours of agonizing torment, the chaotic running inside the room suddenly slowed down. The high-pitched screech of the monitor stopped, replaced by a slow, weak but steady beep, beep, beep. The double doors pushed open slowly. Dr. Han walked out, pulling out his bloody gloves. His face looked incredibly tired. His shoulders slumped as he looked down at me, sitting broken on the floor. Bossman, Dr. Han said softly, his voice trembling slightly from the intense pressure. We managed to stabilize them both. Internal bleeding has stopped, and the baby's heartbeat is back to normal. They're out of immediate danger, but it was a miracle. They both are alive. A heavy, breathless sob tore out of my throat. I covered my mouth, nodding weakly as a crushing weight on my chest finally lifted, just enough for me to breathe again. They were alive. My family was still here. Can I see him? I choked out, pushing myself up on the floor with shaking legs. Yes, Dr. Han sighed, stepping aside to let me pass. He's awake, but Bosman, the emotional shock is severe. But be gentle with him while you speak. He's not in his right mind right now. I wiped my face quickly, my heart pounding against my ribs as I pushed the door open and stepped into the quiet, sterile room. Jim was lying pale and exhausted against the white pillows, wires and ivies lines hooked to his small wrist. The bright light had been dim, but the room still felt deadly cold. His hands were trembling, resting protectively over his bruised 5-month bum. The physical danger had passed, but the moment his eyes met mine, my breath caught in my throat. The pure, unconditional love that always shone in his beautiful, crescent eyes was completely gone. Instead, they were filled with heavy, burning tears and a devastating look of betrayal. Jimina, I whispered, my voice shaking as I took a small step towards the bed, reaching out a trembling hand to touch his pale cheek. Don't touch me, Jimin sobbed. His voice raw, weak, and cracking with pure agony. He flinched away from my hand as if it burned him, pulling the blanket higher up to his chest and burying his face into the pillow. Baby, please, I pleaded, my heart shattering into a million pieces at his reaction. I hate you, Ming Yongi, Jimin screamed, through his suffocating tears, his entire body shaking as he clutched his stomach tightly. Looked up at me, his eyes red and filled with pain that cut deeper than any bullet ever could. This is all because of you, because of your monstrous world. If my baby dies, I will never forgive you as long as I live. The words hit him like a physical blow, each one carving a hollow space in my chest. I took a shaky step forward, my hands outstretched, desperate to just feel his warm hand and prove that we were both still here. Jimmy, please, baby, calm down. You're going to hurt yourself. Please just listen to me. Don't, Jimmy shrieked, his voice cracking as he violently showed my hand away. He looked at me with such a raw, unadulterated loading that I stumbled back, stunned. Don't you fucking touch me. He was spiraling, lost in a storm of terror and trauma, and did not realize the jagged edges of his own words. Because of you, I could have lost our child. You would have killed your own baby. Yungi, is that what you wanted? The accusation ripped the breath from my lungs. I stopped there, paralyzed, my hands hovering in the air. Jimin, I would never. You know I would die before I let anything happen to you. And yet you are here. Spat out, his chest heaving as he clutched his stomach, his eyes wide and wild. You're here again, hovering over me just to hurt me and the baby. More. Every time you're near, there's blood and pain. Just get out and leave us alone. He turned his face into the pillow, his body shaking with such intense hysterical sobbing that the heart monitor began to spike again. He wasn't seeing his husband, he was seeing the monster that has brought the violence to his doorstep. And as I watched him try to shield himself from me, the man who worshipped the ground he walked on, I felt the final piece of my soul shatter. I had kept him safe from the world only to become the very thing he was terrified of. Time skipped 2 days later. The heavy storm inside the clinic finally began to quiet down. After 48 hours of intense observation and bed rest, Dr. Han finally gave the green light. June was feeling a little better physically, and his body was strong enough to leave the clinic room and go back upstairs to our main bedroom in the mansion. But the silence between us was defeating. Jimin had completely stopped talking to me. Wouldn't look at me, wouldn't answer my questions, and treated me like an invisible ghost in this room. Completely ignored my existence, yet despite the sharp bleeding wounds his hurtful words had left in my heart, I never stopped caring for him, not even for a single second. I did not care about my pride as the king of Seoul anymore. He was my husband and he was carrying our child. When it was time to move him back to our bedroom, I did not ask for his permission. I just silently walked over to the clinic bed, carefully slid one arm behind his back and the other beneath his knees, and lifted him up into my arms. Jimin flinched at first, his entire body going stiff as a board, but he did not fight me. He just turned his head away, staring blankly at the wall, refusing to meet my eyes, as I carried him light framed up to the grand staircase. Back in our room, I gently laid him down on the sofa, fresh sheets, tucking the heavy duvet right up to his chest. Ajuma made some warm mushroom soup for you, baby, I whispered softly. It was raspy from lack of sleep over the past 2 days. I'll bring it up. Jimmy did not say a word. He just closed his eyes, turning his back towards me and curling tightly around his 5-month bum. I let out a shaky breath, swallowing the painful lump in my throat, and got to work. Even if he hated me, I was going to make sure he had everything he needed. The rest of the day, I became a silent shadow. I brought him his meals on a tray, placing his favorite fresh fruits and crackers on the nightstand. When it was time for his morning and evening medications, I personally checked the dosage, brought him a fresh glass of lukewarm water, and left the pills right where he could reach them. Every time he needed to use the bathroom, I was right there. He tried to push himself up on his own, his face twisting in slight discomfort as his round stomach weighed him down. Without saying a word to trigger his anger, I simply stepped in, wrapping my arms securely around his waist to take the weight of his feet, guiding him slowly across the room. He did not thank me, nor did he look at me. He just let me hold him, his silence cutting deeper than any knife. When the night fell, I did not dare to sleep on the bed next to him, terrified that my presence would bring back his panic. Instead, I dragged a heavy armchair right next to his side of the bed. I sat there in the dark, my eyes fixed on the soft rising and falling of his chest, watching his small hands rest protectively over our body. My heart was broken into pieces, but as long as he was breathing, as long as they were both safe under my roof, I would happily stay in this living hell forever. But Jimin wasn't asleep either. Through the dim light, I could see his eyes open, staring blankly at the wall. After a while, he shifted his weight, his gaze slowly drifting over to where I sat. He watched me as I shifted uncomfortably in the cramped armchair, my long legs bent at an awkward angle and my back arching from sitting upright for hours. No matter how angry or terrified he was, he had allowed me for two. longed to completely turn off his heart. Could not sleep. How could he, when he could see his husband in clear discomfort right beside him? Seeing me squeeze my eyes shut in a wave of exhaustion, Jimmy let out a soft, frustrated sigh. Slowly tried to push himself up against a pillow, wanting to sit up, but his core muscles were still incredibly sore from the trauma. Ah, Jimmy hissed out, loud, his face twisting as a sharp pinch of pain shot through his lower back. His hands instantly flying to his 5-month bag. The small sound that snapped my eyes open in a millisecond. My protective instincts instantly overrode my exhaustion. In a heartbeat, I was out of the chair and on my knees right at the edge of the bed. My hands hovered over his trembling body, shaking with pure panic, and I checked over him, terrified that he was hurting again. Desperate, Jimmy, Jimmy, baby, what's wrong? I panicked, my voice a breathless, desperate whisper in the quiet room. Is it the stomach? Is it the baby? Do I need to call Dr. Han back up here? Timmy, please, Bob. The raw panic in Yogi's raspy voice broke something deep inside Jamil. Looking down at the man kneeling by his bedside, the feared king of Seoul now completely disheveled, with bloodshot eyes, bruised knuckles, and hands that shook violently just like thought of Jimin being in pain. The wall of ice around Jimin's heart instantly shattered. The fog of trauma and adrenaline that had clouded his mind for the last 2 days finally cleared, leaving behind a crushing wave of the reality. Jimin's lower lip trembled, did not answer Yogi's frantic questions. Instead, a choked, broken sob slipped past his lips, followed by a torrent of hot tears that poured down his pale cheeks. Jimin, baby, please, you're scaring me now. Yogi pleaded, his own eyes welling with fresh tears as he reached from the bedside phone to call the medics. Where does it hurt, Jimmy now? No, no, don't call him, Jimmy cried out, his voice cracking as he reached out and grabbed Yogi's wrist, pulling his hand away from the phone. Jimmy hid his face in his hand, his shoulders shaking violently. The deep, suffocating guilt took over. He hated himself. He absolutely hated himself for the horrific jagged words he had screamed at his husband in the clinic room. How could I how could I have said those things? He thought, his heart aching with a physical agonizing pain. He hadn't been in his right mind, consumed by the sheer terror, almost losing their child. But that was of no excuse. He had looked into the eyes of the man who literally considered him his entire universe. The man who had torn through an entire ambush just to reach him, and he had called him a monster, had told Yongi that he would never forgive him, accusing him of trying to kill their own baby. I'm sorry, Yongi, I'm so sorry. Jimin sobbed hysterically, his fingers digging into his silver hair as he rocked himself back and forth on the bed. I did not mean it. I swear I did not mean it. You are not a monster. You saved us. You saved our baby. Yogi froze, completely stunned by the sudden outburst, his heart aching as he watched his husband unravel from pure remorse. I was just so scared, Jimin wailed, finally looking up through his tear-blood vision at Yogi's broken face. How could I say that to you? You're my whole world, Yogi. I'm so sorry. The heavy, suffocating weight that had been crushing Yogi's chest for the last 48 hours suddenly evaporated, replaced by a profound aching tenderness. Did not care about the pain of the accusation, nor did he hold an ounce of resentment. Seeing Jim unravel in a pool of his own guilt was 1,000 times worse than any harsh words he could ever endure. Without a second thought, Yongi climbed onto the mattress, moving with absolute gentleness. He wrapped his strong arm securely around Jimin's shaking frame, pulling him tightly against his chest. Sure, baby. Hey, look at me, Bob. Yogi murmured, his own voice thick with the unshed tears as he rocked them both back and forth. He pressed fervent, comforting kisses into Jimin's soft silver hair, trying to anchor him. Stop, please, don't cry like this. You have nothing to be sorry for. Do you hear me? Nothing. Jimin only cried harder, burying his face directly into the crop of Yongi's neck, his small hand clutching the fabric of Yongi's shirt as if he were drowning man. catching the lifeline. I was so cruel to you. You were bleeding, you were hurting, and I blamed you. I called you a monster, Yogi. You were terrified, Jimina, Yogi corrected softly, his thumb gently wiping away the hot tears cascading down his husband's pale cheek. He placed a warm, trembling hand over Jimin's, pressing it gently against a prominent 5-month bump between them. Our baby is safe because you fought for him. You did nothing wrong. I could never ever be angry with you. Jimmy let out a long, shredding breath, the frantic beating of his heart finally beginning to slow down, as a familiar comforting scent of mint and wood smoke wrapped around him. He leaned heavily into Young's solid warm mat, his eyes swollen but firmly clear of the haunting terror. Don't sleep in the chair anymore, Jimmy whispered broadly, looking up at Yogi with a fragile, hopeful pout. I need you here beside me. Young's lips curved into the first genuine smile he had worn in days. He carefully slid down beneath the duvet, pulling Jimmy's along with him, so that Jimmy's back was flushed against his chest, his large hands resting protectively over Jimmy's stomach. I'm right here, Jimmy now.
Yogi
Yogi
whispered
whispered
into
into
the
the
quiet
quiet
dark,
dark,
kissing the
kissing the
crown
crown
of
of
Jimin's
Jimmy's
head.
head.
I'm
I'm
not
not
in
in
any
any
way
way
leaving
leaving
you
you
alone.
alone. Time skipped 4 months later. Jimmy was officially 9 months pregnant, and to say he was completely, utterly huge would be an understatement. His once slender frame now carried a magnificent, perfect, round basketball of a belly that made him everyday life a monumental task. He couldn't see his own feet. Bending over to pick up a drop pillow was a mathematical impossibility, and walking more than 5 steps across the grand bedroom felt like running a marathon. Minyongi, I swear this kid is building a mansion of his own in there. Jim huffed loudly, leaning heavily against the edge of his dresser. He had only been standing for 2 minutes to pick out a soft sweater, but he was already out of breath, his chest heaving as he pouted fiercely. Yoongi, who had been watching his husband like a hawk from the bed, immediately crawled to his feet. Baby, I told you to stay in bed, right? Let me get it for you. No, Yogi, I want to do it myself, Jimin whined, his lower lip sticking onto his dramatic, adorable frown as he scolded his husband. But your son is brushing directly on my bladder. My back feels like it's holding up the entire city of Seoul. And I'm exhausted. Why did you do this to me, huh? This is all your fault, Yogi. Yogi couldn't help the fond, gummy smile that spread across his face. He walked over completely unfazed by the hormonal scolding and gently slid his hand under Jimin's arms to support his weight. He carefully guided his heavily pregnant husband back towards the edge of the bed. Yes, precious, it's all my fault, Yogi chuckled softly, kissing Jimin's flesh spouting cheek as he helped him sit down on the bed. The moment Jimmy's weight hit the mattress, he let out a long, dramatic sigh of relief, melting backward against the plush pillows. Yogi knelt on the floor right in front of him, gently taking Jimmy's swollen feet into his lap and rubbing them with perfect practice pressure. Jimmy's harsh pout instantly dissolved into a soft, blissful hum. He looked down at his husband, his eyes overflowing with love as he rested his small hands on top of his massive bum. Okay, fine, I forgive you, but only because you were good with your hands. Good to know I'm useful, Yogi teased, looking up with warm, adorable eyes. He leaned up to press a soft, lingering kiss right against the center of Jimmy's stomach. Hear that little guy, Papa forgives me. But the peaceful, cute moment did not last long. Just as Yogi leaned back, a sudden sharp gasp ripped from Jimmy's throat. His eyes went wide with pure shock and his finger gripped the bedsheets tightly. Splash! A warm pool of clear fluid soaked through the sheets, dripping onto the floor. Yongi Jimin gasped, his voice trembling as a sudden intense wave. The contraction hit his abandon. Yongi, my water just broke. The feared, ruthless king of Seoul froze. His brain completely short-circuited for a solid 3 seconds. The mafia boss looked like a deep caught in headlight. Water broke now? But Dr. Han said next week. Yongi, it's happening now. Ah! Jimin cried out, clutching his bum as another sharp contraction rolled through him. Right now, hospital rooms downstairs. Medics, Dr. Han. Yungi panicked, entirely throwing his cool demeanor out of the window. He scrambled to his feet, accidentally tripping over his footstool. before rushing to the bedroom door and billowing down the hallway at the top of his lungs. Dr. Han, get this clinic ready. It's time. He dashed back to the bed, carefully was lifting Jimmy's heavy frame into his arms, murmuring sweet panic reassurance into his ear, while his own heart beat like a bass drum. A few hours later, the chaotic storm of labor had finally passed, giving way to the most beautiful sacred silence the mansion ever known. The bright clinic lights were dimmed to a soft warm glow. Jimmy lay exhausted against the pillows, sweat sticking his silver hair to his forehead, but his face was completely radiant, illuminated with a pure maternal joy. Cradled securely in his arms was a tiny warm bundle wrapped in a soft blue blanket. The baby boy had a head full of thick dark hair and tiny pouty lips that looked exactly like his papa's. Later, a tiny soft coo, his miniature figure twitching in his sleep. Yungi sat on the very edge of the bed, his arms wrapped tightly around Jimmy's shoulders. The king of Seoul was quietly weeping hot silent tears of pure devotion, sliding down his face as he started at the miracle before him. He reached down his last sacred hand, looking massively compared to the tiny newborn, and gently let the baby's tiny fingers wrap around his pinky. He's perfect, Yongi, Jimin whispered rawly, leaning his head against her husband's shoulder. Beautiful smile gracing his lips. We did it. He's safe, Yon. Yongi turned his head, pressing a deep, breathless kiss to Jimin's temple. His heart swelling with love, so profound it felt entirely limitless. Thank you, baby, Yungi choked out softly, looking at the beautiful husband and a newborn son, his entire universe, safely held in his arms. I love you both so much. The dark, dangerous world outside the mansion door did not matter anymore. Right here in the quiet warmth of their room, the king of Seoul had finally found his face, his family. The end.